5 plus 5 is only what? 1,000. So there looks like a lot more. Time out.
She did it right. She did it right. I watched the whole thing. She did it right.
Listen, I have a right to call.
Yeah, you can call it.
I want to see floor.
You want to see the floor?
Yes.
Okay,
Can you count your chips, young man?
Rise and grind, everybody. Hopefully y'all having a great start to your day. We just landed. It is currently 7:15 right now, and we're at a new spot, new location. We're in Phoenix, Arizona. A new location that the channel hasn't seen before. I heard the last time I was in Vegas, some of the guys were talking about one of the best poker rooms around, and they mentioned Talking Stick, that they either renovated it or just reopened it or moved it or something. So that's what we're here to do. We're here to check it out and see what it's all about. I believe it's in Scottsdale, Arizona. So not too far, but we're just gonna get our bags now. Hopefully we can find them. Again, it's a new location, so I'm like, I have no idea where I'm at, where I'm going. So trying to get our bags, gonna hop into Uber, and again, see what the poker room's all about. See what we can get into, but I'll let you guys know when we get there. What's up, guys? As you saw, we're at a new location, Talking Stick, and for this vlog, we're actually gonna do something a little bit different, more of a Andrew Nemi style of vlog, where he talks in front of the camera face to face, rather than doing more voiceovers. And the reason for that is because in Vegas, I kind of got in the habit of telling them that I'm gonna be filming, gonna be vlogging, because they get kind of bugged when you just start filming and then they come over and ask you for your questionnaire or your email saying that you're able to film. So I just got in that habit of telling them beforehand. So when I got to Talking Stick, when I put my name down for a game, I told them like, hey, I'm who I am. I'm a poker vlogger. Who do I have to tell to film, or who do I have to let know that I'm filming? And then they kind of looked at me and they're like, yeah, we don't allow that here. I was like, what? Like, I remember seeing vlogs like a few years ago of, I don't even know who I saw, but they were filming at Talking Stick. And so I guess I didn't do my research. I should have called and asked if you're allowed to film, but I didn't even think anything of it. Because again, I've seen these videos of people filming at this location. So I was like, oh my God, I'm here for 3 days. Like, a lot of thoughts were going through my head, so I didn't know what to think. I was like, do I go to another place? Do I just play? And I was like, well, I'm already here, so might as well. So the main reason why we're doing this style of vlog is because they didn't exactly allow me to film as much as I wanted to, but don't worry, we do get some footage that I think you'll enjoy. I really wish I could have captured the entirety of the poker room. I mean, this place was just massive. I think it was even bigger than the casino itself, if I'm being honest. It had around 60, 70 tables, and even on slow times and slow days, they had 30, 40 tables going, and a mixture of games, all the way from 40, 80, I think, or higher, 50, 100, and I mean, it was just insane, the amount of people that were there and the amount of action. I think the main game and most popular game was 2-3, $500 max. And that's what we play the whole 3 days that we're there. And I don't even think we had to wait ever for a seat, just because there was that many tables going on at one given time. We might have had to wait 5 minutes one time for a table and a seat, but that's about it. So never really had to wait just because there was that many tables going, and it was awesome. So that's what we start with, the $500 max. And for this first hand, we don't capture on film because remember, they didn't allow me to film, and we didn't want to get kicked out the first day that we were there, because we all know how that is, getting kicked out and banned of poker rooms on this channel, and we didn't want that to happen again. So the first hand we're going to go over, we have Queen 10 of spades in the cutoff. There's a middle position raised to 10. The low jack calls. I'm reading my notes. So low jack calls. I raise to 30. Small blind calls, $30 raise. Middle position, the initial raiser calls the raise as well. And the low jack calls. So 4 ways to a flop. And the flop comes 9-9-3 with 2 spades. So relatively good board for us. I mean, we have flush draw, 2 overs. And if they don't have a 9, they really shouldn't have anything at all. So when the action checks to me, I throw out a c-bet, I make it 35. Small blind calls it 35, and the other 2 players get out of the way. So narrow the field, heads up to a turn, and the turn is 7 of spades. So we catch our flush right away, didn't even have to wait. So when the small blind checks to me, I'm going to continue. I'm not a big fan of slow playing monsters, and the board could get worse. It could be double paired, or another spade can come and he could have the ace or king of spades, like who knows. So I throw out another bet, throw out 60, and he thinks for about 10-15 seconds, but ultimately folds. So nothing too crazy, but it kind of helps with this hand, so to speak, because I was up a little bit on the session. So started with 500, and because of this hand, I was up a little bit. And this hand is probably one of the wildest hands I've ever been a part of. Well, for one, we get the floor called on us. And 2, well, you'll just have to see. I have some video and audio to share with you guys. But a little backstory on my opponent. He was an older guy. I think he was in the military. And he was very talkative. I mean, telling stories about past being in the military. And just some stories were cool. And you're like, oh, heck yeah. And then some were little not, you didn't really believe him. They're kind of just out there. So he was really talkative, and he had some injuries. I guess he couldn't hear or see very well at times. So, I mean, he was at C1, and even then, sometimes he couldn't hear the dealer or sometimes see the cards. So he would hold up the game a little bit, and that was kind of getting on some people's nerves. I mean, me, I have a lot of patience. I mean, for one, I'm a poker player. 2, I've been an athlete, and adversity, having to deal with certain things on and off the field. So not a lot of things bother me. So I wasn't, very bugged at it. I was just, whatever, it happens. But all the rest of the players were kind of like, come on, hurry up, or whatever. So that was just a little backstory. But let's get into the hand. So I'm in another gun. I have ace-10 offsuit. I raise to 10. I'm first to act. It folds around all the way around the table, and the big blind, the guy that I'm talking about, he says, you're a nice kid, so I'll give you action. So he makes the call. So we're heads up to a flop, and it comes 8-5-10 rainbow. So we have top pair, top kicker. Not a bad board for us. He checks and flow to me, and I make a c-bet, standard c-bet, throw out 15. He calls. So nothing really crazy thus far. The turn is a 6 of spades. So brings in the backdoor flush draw and maybe a few 2-pair combinations that get there and some straights. But other than that, really nothing. We still have top. He checks and flow again to me. I make another bet. I throw out 20 this time. So just doubling the flop bet. And this is where the hand gets a little out of line. He raises 100 more. So he makes it 120 to go. And I kind of like, why so much? Like, it was kind of weird. I mean, I figured if he had, I don't know, a set or a straight, he wouldn't make it that big, because this board should favor him more than me. I mean, maybe I could have top set for, tens, 3 of a kind with tens, but I mean, it should favor him more than me. So why so much? So I tank for a little bit, and eventually throw in the extra 100. So I make the call. The river is a total blank. It's a 3 of clubs. So flushes miss. Straights were already there. So that doesn't change. And if I was ahead on the turn, I'm definitely ahead on the river, because nothing changed. And he doesn't take too long before announcing all in. And he covers me. So it's $439 for me to call. And again, nothing changed. If I'm ahead on the turn, I'm definitely ahead on the river. So I take maybe half a second, and I snap call him. And he flips over his hand, and he said he misread his hand. He had 5-7 offsuit. So he had a pair, and that's it. I guess he thought he had a straight. And yeah, I just think, I mean, after all his stories about this, that, and the other that didn't sound as believable, I tend to not believe this story either. I mean, he was just trying to make a move, I think. And he just got caught. And I called him off with top. And he just got upset. And he got really upset. So take a look at this.
Okay, I owe you $1 back.
How much did you start with?
It don't matter.
It does matter because I had $900 here.
Well, no. So we bet we're good. That's good. What now is we're on the river. He has 439. I gave you $1 back. It's all good. Here you go, sir.
How much did you have, Brian?
I started at 5.
So 5 plus 5 is only what? 1,000. So there looks like a lot more. Time out.
She did it right. I watched the whole
Time
thing. She
out.
did it right.
Listen, I have a right to call.
Yeah, you can call it.
I want to see floor.
You want to see the floor?
Yes.
Okay,
Can you
sir.
count your chips, young man?
I really tried to get as much video and audio as I could for you guys. But again, it was maybe an hour and a half into the session, and I didn't want to get kicked out. So I try to be as low key as possible. Even as you saw, like I had to have the phone maybe like right here, a little bit lower than I wanted to. Usually I'm up top trying to get as best camera angle as I could. But again, try to be as low key as I could. And as you heard, the guy was just complaining that I got overpaid and the dealer made a mistake that I got too much of his chips because he said he had a certain amount in his stack and was asking me how much I had. And as you heard, I said I had like 5. But again, I won that first hand when I caught the flush. So I had a little bit more than 5. But again, started with 5. I was like, I have 5 something. And he's like, all right, 5 something, that equals 1,000. You have more than 1,000. And everybody on the table was calculating like, all right, the flop bet was this, the turn bet was this. You raised an extra 100. So it was 120. And then the river was his 439 or whatever it was. And he just still didn't believe it. He's like, no, I have the right to call the floor. I want to see the cameras. I want you to check the cameras. Like, this is ridiculous. And he even stopped the table for a good 10 minutes. Like, everyone was looking around like, what else do you want us to do? Like, he counted his chips. He left his chips out there. I mean, what more do you want? And the dealer was like, she didn't know what to do. She was like, well, what do I do? Like, do I deal? Like, I don't. And they were just sick of it. And here's actually the audio of the final result when the floor manager came over and told this gentleman what actually happened. So take a listen.
Everything was done 100% correctly. It was 585 to a T, and he was paid 585.
Okay.
That gentleman was nice enough to even leave the
Hey,
chips
why
out
are you
there.
yelling at me?
I'm just talking, sir. I'm not
Lower
yelling.
your voice, please. I can hear you.
Okay. Did you want the short version or the long version?
I'll take the long version later.
No, you're not getting the long version later.
Okay, let's go ahead.
Okay, we're
Do
done. It was done correctly.
It's not done to me, in my opinion.
I don't want the long version.
Okay, I said okay 4
Okay.
times.
Good.
I said okay
It's
4
on
times.
your play. Now you're getting out of line.
I said okay 4 times.
And as you heard, everything was done 100% correct, to the dollar, to a T. And he even said that I was nice enough to just display my chips. Like, I counted them out. I just put them out there. I was like, all right, look at them, touch them, whatever you want to do. And that everything was just done right. He just got upset that I snapped it off and made a good play. He tried to make a move and it didn't work for a decent amount of money. And again, it's okay to get upset, but you don't have to be that dramatic and call the floor and want to look at the cameras. And the floor manager was even getting upset with him, saying, he was asking him, he's like, do you want to know the short version or the long version? Like, I can tell you the short version now or the long version. He's like, I'll listen to the long version later. It's like, no, this guy just spent an hour breaking down this film. Like, you step away for a hand. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. Listen what he has to say and just, that's it. But again, he was just being uncooperative and I don't know, it was just ridiculous. But a big hand goes our way, so that was awesome. And after this hand, I was just thinking to myself, I have to film. Like, this man or this table is going to make me rich. Not because playing 2-3, no limit cards wise, money wise, but I was like, this is some good footage right here. So I went up to the front again. I asked the ladies, I was like, hey, like, are you guys sure? Like, I can't film. Like, I will sign whatever you needed me to sign, that I won't show faces, that you can sue me if I show a finger, whatever. Like, I just want to film my hands and have the audio. And they were kind of like, I don't know. Let's talk to the manager. And I was like, all right, let's go. And they started walking at first, and then she kind of turned around. She's like, all right, you come and you ask him yourself, like, plead your case. I was like, all right, this is awesome. Let's do it. And the one that she got, the floor manager that she got, was the same guy that came over to our table that checked the cameras. So he was kind of already aware of the situation and was cool with me already because he was on my side because we did everything right. And I talked to him for a little bit, just told him what I do. And he was just like, no, they don't approve it. Like, we're trying to get it approved, and we're even trying to do like a stream, like a live stream game here at Talking Stick. But as of right now, it can't. And I was just like, dang. I was like, all right, like, it's cool. So I just went back to my seat and started playing again. But again, as you guys are about to see, I do get a little bit of footage. I mean, it's not the best. I'm not having my phone out the entire time filming everything, but certain hands or bigger hands, I just pull out the phone 10-15 seconds and just put it back down. And I think there's just so many tables there, it's hard to keep track of everybody. So I don't know. So they didn't allow it per se, but the dealers knew that I was vlogging. I would talk about vlogging to the table, and they weren't exactly against it, I guess you can say. So it does happen. So we do get footage for you guys. So after that craziness of a hand, this next hand we're going to go over is just as big. There's a new player to my right, older gentleman, maybe 60s, and he's maybe an orbit in, so haven't played with him at all. But he's first to act, he's under the gun, and he raises to 15. And we look down at the best starting hand in poker, pocket aces. And we're definitely not going to slow play this, because if we call 15, the next person's going to call 15, and we're going to go super multi-way. And definitely don't want to go super multi-way with pocket aces out of position. So we 3-bet it, we make it 45 to go. It folds around all the way back to him, and he makes the call for 30 more. So we're heads up to a flop. And the flop comes 5-Jack-3 with 2 spades. So we have an overpair. Action on him. He checks and flow to me, the 3-better. And we're going to make a C-bet, throw out 35, standard. And he makes the call, doesn't think for too long, makes the call. The turn is a 3 of clubs, so it pairs the board. So really good card for us. Reduces the combination of sets that he may have, pocket 3s. And if he happens to catch like 2 pair, queens and jacks, or has king jack and he catches a king on the river of some sort, we have a bigger 2 pair with aces up. So again, really good card for us. He checks to me again, and we're going to continue. We have a good hand, so we throw out 80 this time. And he thinks for about 5-10 seconds and announces all in. I'm like, dang. I mean, I get in trouble with these spots a lot in my vlogs, as you guys probably have seen, is when I have a good hand and I kind of pre-plan what I'm going to do. If this person does this, then I'm probably going to do this. And it gets me in trouble sometimes, especially with a good hand. I'm like, I usually snap it off, and I actually don't this time. I was going to snap it off, I mean, because I'm not really scared about anything. But I'm like, all right, he jammed all in. I have time. Just take a breath, analyze the situation, and talk it out. So that's what I do. I talk it out. And I just start talking, asking him questions. I'm not really asking him, but just, again, talking to myself out loud. I'm like, why would you do that with a full house, with 5s full, or quads, or a 3 for that matter? Pocket jacks. I mean, maybe pocket jacks could have 4-bet pre-flop out of position. But again, if he had basically the nuts. Why would you want to raise me out? Just didn't make any sense. And I had both red aces, so ace 3 of diamonds wasn't a possibility. Ace 3 of hearts wasn't a possibility. So he couldn't really have 3 of a kind. And there's really no other combinations. Again, pocket fives, just why would you do that? So I take about a minute, maybe even a minute and a half, again, just talking it out. I even announced to the table, I'm like, I'm sorry guys, like this shouldn't be as hard a decision as it is. And I throw in the money, obviously. And the river comes, I think it's a queen. Yeah, it's an offsuit queen. And I was like, damn, I was like, queen's full is good. And he flips over his hand and he has pocket kings. So just a cooler, and just goes to show that talking it out and really analyzing the situation instead of just reacting, like all in call, like it was beneficial to just take a step back, take a breath, really analyze the situation. Again, talking about all the combinations that he may or may not have, why would he go all in with a certain hand, knowing what you have, and just all those factors, and making the best decision that you can. And in this case, it pays off to just break everything down. So my main tip in this hand, in this vlog, if you don't take anything out of this vlog, just take this, just whatever decisions you make, you have time, just break it down. Think about the hands. That's what I've really been trying to work on lately, is just really think and not just react as I've done many times in the past. In this hand, we have ace jack offsuit and the low jack. It folds around all the way to me and we make it a standard 15. That was the standard at the table at the time. And the hijack gets out of the way. The cutoff 3 bets makes it 33. And I just, on the inside, roll my eyes. I'm like, another min click, really? Well, +3, but whatever. The button gets out of the way. The small blind calls 33. The big blind gets out of the way and action back on me. Again, a min click, +3. The small blind called, so I'm getting a good price, closing the action. I toss in the extra $18. So it's 3 ways to a flop in between 2 opponents. And we flop top again. It's 5 jack 2 rainbow. So small blind checks, I check and flow to the aggressor. The cutoff makes a C bet, throws out 40, and he has around 115 total in his stack. So not that much to play behind. And the small blind cold calls the $40 bet, and he has around 200, maybe 220 in his stack. So some money, a decent amount of money to play behind, and some dead money now out there since he just called. I figured if he had a really good hand, like a set, he probably would have raised just to try to isolate the initial aggressor, the cutoff. But he didn't, so he just made the call. And I'm thinking, I'm going to do that. I'm going to squeeze just to try to get it isolated, me and the cutoff. So I have top, a really good hand. And if he happens to have an overpair, I mean, it's only, $75 behind. So not that much. And so that's what I do. I raise it up. And I put in a stack of greens, covering them. I put like 225, maybe 250 in the middle of greens, basically just going all in. The cutoff snap calls like faster than I even put the money out there. So I'm like, all right, we're probably behind. The cutoff thinks for a little bit. I'm like, all right, if I'm not beating the cutoff, maybe the small blind calls and I can still make a profit off this hand. So he thinks for maybe 20, 30 seconds. And he calls. So nobody flips. We're 3 ways, all in, 2 players all in, and to a turn in river. The turn comes 8 of spades, so blank. And the river is the ace of spades. I'm like, all right, I have 2 pair now. And the cutoff shakes his head and he flips over pocket kings. And I beat him. I have aces and jacks. And the small blind just mucks his cards. So I'm guessing he missed something and didn't really have much. So we take it down. We do get lucky in this hand, not gonna lie. I mean, top versus an overpair, getting it all in on the flop. But again, it wasn't for very much, 115 total on the flop. So, I mean, we happened to lose that, no big deal. And so I don't mind my play. I mean, we did get lucky. I mean, this game is a little bit of luck, some skill and luck. Some people say they'd rather be lucky than good, but it doesn't hurt to be both. So that's what we're trying to work on, the actual game aspect of it, and then the luck will come and go, as you guys all know. But we take down a decent pot, and we're doing really well in the session. This last hand we're going to go over in this session, pretty straightforward. We make a table change. We're in the big blind. We have Queen Jack offsuit. There's a few limpers in the field, and we raise it up and make it 15. Only one player makes the call in middle position, so heads up to a flop, and it comes Ace King 3 rainbow. So we have a gut shot, and this board should favor us more than it does him. So I'm first to act. I'm going to make a C bet, and we make it the same as the pre-flop raise, 15. The middle position makes the call. The turn is the perfect card. It's a 10. So we have the nuts. We have a straight, ace high straight. As I said before, I'm not a fan of slow playing monsters. So we're going to continue, but we don't want to make it too big because we want him to continue with all of his range. So we down bet compared to the size of the pot. We only make it 35. And he thinks for not too long and makes the call. After this call, he only has around 120, 125 left in his stack. So perfect for a pot-sized river jam there on the river. As long as it's not a diamond or pairs the board, we still have the nuts. So the river comes and it's perfect. It's a black 7 of clubs. So we still have the nuts. We think for a little bit, maybe a little bit of Hollywood, about 10 seconds. And we put in a stack of greens covering him. And he doesn't snap fold, which is awesome. And he thinks for a little bit, talking it out. And he eventually does make the call. I announce that I have the nuts, and he doesn't show his cards. He just returns them back to the dealer. So another hand, big hand going our way. That was the last interesting hand of this session. We played for a couple more hours, but nothing crazy significant happened. I think we had aces again that held. We had kings that held. I think we bet all 3 streets and we won. But we also lost a few hands. We had top pair and he flopped a set on us. We had like top again, and he flopped a set and he checked raise on the turn, and I got away from it. But nothing too out of the ordinary, but some good plays. So I was happy with the way I played. And we actually book a 4-digit profit, which we haven't done that in a while, in months, I think. So that was nice to have a 4-digit profit. So that was awesome. New location, just got here. Played for a total of 7 hours. So I think our longest session of the vlog. Usually we're around the 4, 5, maybe even 6 hour mark. But we played for a lot longer this time because we were winning and the room wasn't ready until like 3 or 4 o'clock. So what else are we gonna do, right? So that is all for this vlog, guys. Again, I do apologize. I couldn't get as much video footage as I wanted to, but we were able to salvage a little bit, as you saw. And the next vlog you're about to see is gonna be another combination of this, because we do play another 14 or 15 hours worth of sessions at Talking Stick. So the next couple days, we do get a lot of hands, but again, it's gonna be another one of those Andrew Nemi type of vlogs. If you guys do like this style of vlog, let me know in the comments. But me personally, I do like as much visual as possible instead of just looking at me talk. But yeah, that's gonna be the next vlog, is gonna be the rest of these hands that I do play at Talking Stick. It's one of my most profitable trips of this channel. So that's gonna be awesome. So can't wait to share that with you guys. Another thing, I do wanna give a big shout out to my sponsor, Steve, for making this trip happen. I mean, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have gone to Arizona. So it's awesome to have somebody believe in you that much, to wanna sponsor you, to get as much footage as I can, to believe in me, my game, and the channel as a whole is pretty remarkable. So Steve, I know you're watching, so again, I appreciate you and can't wait to go on the next trip. I mean, wherever that may be. Hopefully it's different than Vegas, but again, we always go to Vegas and that'll be great. But again, I do want to expand as much as possible. Colorado, another place in Texas, or even as far as the East Coast. So that'll be awesome. But going to continue making this content for you guys and enjoying the process. But as always, hopefully enjoy the rest of your day. Remember, it's a blessed day. You saw this, you're alive. So always be grateful. Again, I'm Matty Ice. This is Gaines Poker. Peace out.